so I have immense gratitude to His Majesty King Mohammed VI, His Royal Highness.
It is my honor to present the étoile d'or to Mads Mickelson.
أهلا بكم. عدد خاص من الإف بي إم مع نجمين عالميين من هنا من مراكش، النجم الدنماركي مادس ميكلسن والكبير وويليم دافو. مادس ميكلسن كبير منذ بداياته ومشاركاته وآخرها في شريط The Promised Land سنناقشه بخصوصها هنا في الإف بي إم. اللقاء معه لأول مرة كان قبل سنوات، تحديدا في العام 2012 في كان، بعد عرض شريط The Hands لمخرجه توماس فينتنبرغ. فيما بعد حقق الرجل كل النجاحات الممكنة مع أسماء أخرى مثل نيكولاس ويندنغافن. هنا في مراكش تم تكريمه، وهنا في مراكش سلمه النجمة الذهبية للمهرجان الكبير وويليم دافو. هذا الرجل بدوره نال ما ناله من جوائز عالمية في أدوار ستبقى راسخة في أذهان عشاق السينما، منها تحديدا دور سأسائله بخصوصه في فيلم أنتيكريست للأسطورة لارس فون تريير. أهلا بكم إذن في عدد خاص من الإف بي إم مع ضيفين خاصين من هنا مرة سلفا، روبرت دونيرو وماريون كوتيار وباولو سورينتينو وجيريمي آيرنس وتيلدا سوينتون وآخرون وأخريات. اليوم ينضم وويليم دافو ومادس ميكلسن، والسلام. لنعبر.
Hi. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Mr. مادس ميكلسن. Nice to receive. مادس ميكلسن، مرحبا بك في الإف بي إم، وسعداء باستقبالكم في الإف بي إم هنا في المغرب. خلينا نبداو بالنجمة الذهبية للدورة 20 من فعالية المهرجان الدولي للفيلم بمراكش. سبق لك تواجدتي هنا من قبل في دورة سابقة خلال الاحتفال بالسينما الدنماركية وصناع أفلامها، ولكن الأمر مختلف هذه السنة، مختلف بزاف. خليني نقول لك بأنه حضورك استثنائي، خاصة في ظل التكريم اللي تخصيتي به. انطلق مهرجان مراكش الدولي بحفل تكريمك مادس ميكلسن. هذه ماشي المره الاولى ليك في المغرب. شنو تقدر تقول على هذا التكريم في مراكش في المغرب؟
I mean, yes, I was here, I think it was 9 or 10 years ago, as part of I think it was a Scandinavian delegation, means Sweden, Norway, Denmark, that was getting a tribute, which was beautiful. Denmark was on the rise. There was more and more people being interested in Danish films, and they gave another little gentle push in the right direction, Marrakesh. And now I'm here 10 years later getting an honorary award, which is, of course, super surreal for me because I'm aware that Robert De Niro has gotten it. It's like my biggest hero, and many, many other before him. So it's just a fantastic honor. I'm really grateful.
And the special tribute yesterday. تكريم استثنائي حديتي به واللحظة خاصة مع ويليم دافو. Which is
yeah, it's super nice. Again, Willem is someone I watched when I was a young man. He was changing the way of there was a lot of interesting films happening, and he seemed to be part of a lot of them. And he was just such an inspiration for all of us. I was just watching him. I didn't have dreams of being an actor, and later on I became one, and then I shared a stage with him yesterday. So once again, it is surreal when you come from a small country like Denmark that you're eating at the same table.
واخا خلينا نتكلموا على فيلم بروميز لاند، الفيلم جديد للمخرج الدنماركي اللي كتعرفوا مزيان نيكولا يارسن. الفيلم عبارة عن دراما تاريخية قمتي عبرها بتشخيص دور لودفيغ. شنو اللي ثار اهتمامك حول هذا الدور؟ شنو اللي عجبك في هذا الدور وخلاك تلعب هذا الدور مادس ميكلسن؟
There's many things that are interesting about the film and the character. First of all, the time it's taking place is just before the Enlightening in Europe and France. So that means it was a very different time. There was some hierarchy that we do not have today. So that was in itself interesting. The character was just one of the most stubborn men I've ever seen. And it fascinated me that he had a dream, he had a goal of becoming something that he hated. He hates nobility, but he wants to be one of them. I thought it was a complex dream to have, and the script was just beautiful, so I said yes.
And let's return also to the past. There was the. وخلينا نرجع شوية للماضي. صديقك المقرب المخرج الكبير اللي معروف حتى هنا في المغرب نيكولاس ويندنغيفن ومعه توماس فينتنبرغ والكبير لاكس فون ترير. هاد الثلاثه هادو ديال المخرجين هما اللي طلقوا نهضه حقيقيه للفيلم الدنماركي او ما يعرف الحركه ديال دوغما 95 دوغما 95. بالتالي يمكن نقول بانه هاد الحركه شكلت بالنسبه لكم واحد اللحظه ديال بدايه التطور على ما اعتقد في السينما الدنماركيه. Evolution, I think.
A lot of things happened at the same time. As you said, Lars von Trier, Thomas Vinterberg, we had Susanne Bier and Nicholas Refn. We were not part of the Dogma wave, but we kind of used the same rules because we had no money. So we had to use our own clothes, use our own cars, and the Dogma rules definitely placed Denmark on the map. I didn't need those rules to tell me that the story should be important, but it was good for Denmark. So yes, I started out with Nicholas, and the other ones we didn't work together with, and then after a while we started working together. But in the beginning, everybody was defining themselves with their own little unique group of people around them, and I was in the Nicholas Refn group.
Was كازينو رويال ماتس ميكلسن واش كان فيلم كازينو رويال لحظة عالمية بالنسبة لكم وكيفاش ولات علاقتك بهوليود بعد كازينو رويال؟
I think after Casino Royale, I'm sure that I got more offers. I can't remember it like something happening overnight, but I'm sure more things came my way. And my relationship stayed the same. I live in Copenhagen, has always done. And I go to LA if they want to see me. So it's easier for me. I mean, none of the work that is American is actually shot over there. I've only shot American things in Europe. So I never had a reason to move there. But yeah, Bond opened a lot of doors. Definitely.
واليوم من بعد كل هاد السنوات وكل هاد التجارب الكثيرة المتراكمة كيفاش كتقدر تعرف على أنك انتهيتي لتو من أداء واحد دور مذهل ناجح كممثل؟ كنظن بأنه رغم التجارب مازال الأمر صعب لحد الآن.
We don't recognize that in the sense that it's not on the plate. We're trying to solve the scenes we're doing in the moment, one by one, day by day, and then at the end of it, we might have a hunch that we were on the right track, but we will have to wait and see until they start editing the film, right? You should have a good feeling after a couple of days of shooting if we're on the right track. If it feels wrong, we should definitely talk some more and start fixing it. Yeah.
And when it's the opposite, it means. ومنين كيحدث العكس شنو ممكن يدار ملي ما كتمشيش الأمور كما ينبغي؟
Well, it's the worst, and you can be, you can have a scene that on paper seems good, but it just doesn't work, and it can be me, it can be the way we do it, or it can be that it's just not. It's not right for the story. I mean, and sometimes you can't solve it. Neither the director, neither we can. And then we'll just have to try our best and see if it fits into the film.
واخا ومنين قررتي الذهاب للمدرسة ديال الدراما واش شعرتي في لحظة ما بأنك خصك ربما تسالي قبل البقية لأنك ربما كنتي الأكبر سنا بين زملائك في الفصل في ديك الفترة ماتس ميكلسن؟
Yeah, no, I didn't feel that at all. I graduated when I was 30, which is much older than most of them. And I did my first film when I was 30. So yeah, looking at the number, yeah, maybe that was a little late. I didn't think about it at all. I've always been the youngest in my class and the youngest in anything I've ever done. So I think I just saw myself as the youngest in drama school as well, without being it, of course. I've never thought about it at that point. For me, it was probably a good thing that I waited a little. I had maybe too much energy for that school if I started younger.
اوكي، انا عارف بان الكثير من الكوميديين والممثلين شباب المغاربه كيتابعونا الان عبر برنامج الاف بي ام المواجهه. الى طلبت منك مادس ميكلسن انك تسدي لهم نصيحه، واخا انت ما كتبغيش هذا النوع ديال الجمل، كيفاش ربما يمكن لهم الموازنه بين الاستماع للحدث ديالهم وثقتهم بنفسهم وثقه في المخرجين اللي كيشتغلوا معهم؟
Yeah, it's a fine balance. I mean, I don't know if I can give an advice because you can obviously follow your guts, but that might not always be the best thing. You know, I would say if you get offered something that you like on paper, there's something on paper that you like. It might not be completely clear, but there's something you like. Next step, can you communicate with the director? If that's there, then go for it. That's a very good start.
ومنين كنطلعوا على مشهد ديال صناعه الافلام الدنماركيه كيبان لنا عباره عن مجتمع متقارب للغايه. غالبا ما كيشتغل العديد من الممثلين والمخرجين وكتاب السيناريو الدنماركيين فيما بيناتهم، لان الميدان محصور، كيشتغلوا بيناتهم كما قلت. واش ممكن الحديث على جيل قادم؟
There's a new generation, and they keep coming every year. There's a new, but I mean, a lot of things is happening. There is a new generation. They use their own actors, and that's the way it should be. What was easier for us was to change something because there was a lot to change. It's not the same right now because it kind of works what we're doing. So if they want to change something, they have to go in a completely different genre, or just do the same as we're doing but better. So maybe it was just easier for us to come up because there was not a lot of focus on filmmaking.
وقبل ما نختم معك الحلقة نبغي نعطيك 3 ديال الأسماء ونبغي نسمع الرأي ديالك حولها في جملة واحدة. لارس فون ترير، شنو ممكن تقول على الرجل وعلى المخرج؟
He has probably been the most important piece of the puzzle for Danish film.
المخرج نيكولاس ويندن غيفن.
Yeah, I started out with him, so I owe him everything. So we haven't worked for a long time, but I'm sure we're going to work again.
وطبعا مازال تشتغل معه مستقبلا. The last name. الاسم الأخير، احنا في مراكش. مارتن سكورسيزي.
Yeah, he's an icon. I mean, he's made so many fantastic films, and I've met him a couple of times now. And as I said yesterday in my speech, he's an amazing person as well. So there's nothing there that can disappoint you.
مادس ميكلسن، شكرا على التواجد معنا في الاف بي ام المواجهه. وخليني في الختام نقدم لك هديه كما جرت العاده من قبل مع روبرت دونيرو، جيريمي ايرونز وماريون كوتيا. قبعه اللي كانت شرف نسلمها لك. شكرا مادس ميكلسن. مرحبا بك ويليام دافو، أو بالأحرى السيد وويليام جيمس دافو.
Well, Willem's fine.
Okay, in 2015 you figured among personalities. في العام 2015 كنت من بين الشخصيات اللي تم تكريمها في الدورة 15 على ما أعتقد. بالفعل الدورة كانت الدورة 15 من المهرجان ديال مراكش السينمائي. كتعرف مزيان هذا المهرجان وخاصة كتعرف المغرب. شنو ممكن تقول حول هذا الموعد هذا المهرجان ديال مراكش؟
Well, you know, I haven't been in Morocco for quite some time because when I wasn't able to attend the festival last time, they presented me with an honor. I'm happy to be back. I haven't been here for 35 years. So much has changed, certainly. I shot a Martin Scorsese movie called Last Temptation of Christ here, principally in Marrakesh, but also a little bit in Meknes, a small town called Umnas, that I think is quite close. Meknes, Volubilis. We shot various places in Morocco.
Let's talk about memories, especially this film. واخا تكلمتي على هذا الشريط هذا، خلينا نتحدثوا على مزيد من الذكريات ديال تصوير هذا الشريط هنا. كنتكلم على فيلم مارتن سكورسيزي The Last Temptation of Christ. خلينا نتكلموا على بعض الذكريات، خصوصا البيئة اللي تم التصوير فيها هنا في المغرب. In Morocco, some memories.
Well, that shoot was very particular because it was actually quite a low budget movie. Which was unusual for Martin Scorsese because you can usually command a very large budget, and of late he's usually worked with very large budgets. But this was quite lean, and I think that helped us tell the story because it kept us to kind of essentials and we didn't get lost in spectacle, or it was very to the point. As far as shooting, we worked with a Moroccan crew and other people, and it was good. And no, very little trailers, that sort of thing. We were very light and quick team, and we were out in nature a lot because so much of it, because of given the historical period of it, we're not in buildings so much. So we felt very attuned with nature. So at night in the mountains it was really cold, and during the day in the desert it was really hot.
واخا وسبق لي سولت الكثير من الزملاء ديالك بحال روبرت دونيرو، جيريمي ايرونس ونجوم اخرين، سولتهم على الفيلم اللي شكل نقطة ديال تحول في حياتهم المهنية، وكان جوابهم في الكثير من الأحيان بأنه الفيلم الأول. واخا بالنسبة لك أنت ويليام دافو، شنو هو الفيلم اللي شكل العلامة الفارقة في حياتكم المهنية والشخصية؟
That's hard to say because I feel like every film leads to the next, whether it's a failure or a success. It sends you on the path to the next one. So the most important movie is the first one because that's breaking the ice. That's the first time that you really come in contact and start to work in the medium. So probably the first film, substantial thing I did, which was Catherine Bigelow's first film. But then there are other ones that, for example, the first time I had a film that really was successful internationally was probably Platoon, which was in the States, for example, it was a critical and popular success. And then also went quite well in the world. So there are little markers along the way, but to answer your question, I'd have to say the first one is the most important one.
Actors sometimes. ويليام دافو عادة كيتطرح مسألة لعب أدوار سينمائية متعددة ومختلفة عن بعضها البعض على الممثلين. كيفاش كتشوف أنت أمر الانتقال بين الشخصيات والأدوار المختلفة؟ هو أمر معقد للغاية، خصوصاً ملي كيتطرح الأمر على ممثلين شباب اللي مازال ما عندهمش تجربة.
I think, you know, when you approach a character and you try to inhabit that character, it depends very much on the circumstances and the people around you. And when you take away those circumstances and the people around you, unless you really try to hang on to it, it recedes back inside you. So these are opportunities to bring out something in yourself. And it basically goes away once you stop filming. I mean, you get activated by the camera. When you're shooting, of course, if you're trying to inhabit something 12 hours a day, you're starting to dream about your day at work. You're starting to lose yourself a little bit and start to flirt with having another life. So there is some immersion, but I think that goes away when the circumstances that let that happen the character is created out of the situation. Take away the situation and the character goes back in.
Now after years and years and اليوم من بعد سنوات طوال وخبرات متراكمة في العمل السينمائي، خليني نسولك ويليام دافو، واش كتحس في بعض المرات بندم ما إزاء مرحلة من تجربتك الكبيرة؟ Big experience.
Regret?
ولو بنسبة قليلة.
No. Nothing. What's to regret? I mean, I'm lucky that I do something that I like to do. It's a job that's very particular because it's always different. It's uncertain, which is the beauty of it, but also the not so beautiful part of it. But it's always different, and I can honestly say that even though clearly having made like 150 movies, which kind of shocks me, when I start a movie, it feels like the first time only because the whole idea is to make it the experience specific. And while you may have tendencies to repeat certain behaviors, you don't really encourage that because then you're kind of stuck and it feels deadened. While you may have instincts and you may start to create some kind of craft, I don't know. I feel like your lessons are learned intuitively, and when it's time to do something, you're starting all over again.
ونتكلموا الآن على مخرج اشتغلتي معاه هو لارس فون ترير اللي هو مثلي الأعلى كمخرج سينمائي.
You like him?
بزاف.
I think he's a great filmmaker.
والأداء ديالك في الفيلم ديال الأنتي كريست كان روعة في روعة.
Thank you.
واحد من أفضل الأفلام اللي سبق لي شخصيا شاهدتها.
You and I are friends. I like that movie too.
First time in Cannes Film Festival. كنت شفتو أول مرة في مهرجان ديال كان السينمائي. أنا عارف بأنك كتحظى بعلاقة خاصة مع لارس فون ترير المخرج والرفيق. كيفاش الاشتغال مع الشخص، مع الرجل، مع الفنان؟
Well, I've worked with him like 4 or 5 times, and each time it's a little different. A lot of it is colored by what my role is. I mean, whether it's expansive or not. So probably the most substantial was Antichrist. And Lars is, you know, he flirts with the devil. He speaks the unspeakable. He really is, he's a brilliant mind. He's a good filmmaker. And he's curious, and so he goes towards things that sometimes are not clear and sometimes are a little dangerous. So to work with him, it's very exciting. Special, because he's very passionate about what he does. He's very intelligent. Not necessarily, he's an intellectual, but you don't feel he's lost in his intellect. I just enjoy him, and he knows the language of film. You talk about Antichrist. I think the prologue and that epilogue, and those 2 sections of that film are some of that's high cinema for me.
ويليام دافو، اشتغلتي في مشوارك في نحو 150 شريط سينمائي. انت باختصار أسطورة سينمائية بالنظر لمساركم الفني الغني جدا. اشتغلتي مع مخرجين كتار بحال لارس فون ترير، ويس أندرسون، أوليفر ستون ومخرجين اخرين. منين كيتقترح عليك مشروع، منين كتشوف في بديل الامر مشروع ما كيتقترح عليك، واش اسم المخرج كيعني لك شي كثير؟
Yes. Because I like to give myself to someone, or try to. You know, it's like I'm there to be part of a project. Film is so collaborative, and you need someone to define the terms, to make the frame, to kind of point us in the direction of the experiment. And if that person is weak or passive or not strong or not engaging, then it's very difficult for me to be motivated. But if that person's very strong, and I like being in the room with them, and they engage me and excite me, then I feel very strong. So you look for those people, you just enjoy being around them because they challenge you and they challenge your way of thinking and they give you interesting things to do. So that's really the reason. Directors are very important for me. I think about directors and the whole project more than I think, for example, let's say about character, because you don't know what it is until you get there. And screenplay, a great screenplay is a wonderful thing to have, but you have to put it on its feet, and that's there's a lot of adjustments, and that's only part of it. So Directors, you know, it's about the company you keep, and director is very important to me.
الامر واضح. خلينا نخفوا الحده ديال النقاش. كتوفر على شي حساب منصه ديال تيك توك مثلا؟ واش عندك شي حساب في وسائل التواصل الاجتماعي بحال بزاف ديال الممثلين اللي بداو في الابحار في وسائل التواصل الاجتماعي؟
I don't deal with social media. It's too much for me. I mean, sometimes people send me things and it's amusing, but I don't get involved.
عالم مغاير.
It's another world, and I can see why people have fun with it, but it's time consuming and it's a rabbit hole, you know. I don't want to say I don't have time for that. That's not what it's about. It's really about it. Yeah, you can really get sucked into something that I don't find that, for me, creative. And also, if it involves me or what I do, it makes you self-conscious. You shouldn't be thinking about what you do. You shouldn't be too concerned. You should try to do what you do that excites you and hope that people respond to it. But you can't always go out and see what people are thinking, and because then you get sucked into this game of trying to please, which we all have as human beings. We like to serve, we like to make people happy, we like people to, you know, be happy with what we do, but you can't think about that.
الامر مرهق.
Too much, it's not what, it doesn't help what you do, you know.
Just last question. السؤال اخير، كنتواجدوا اليوم في المغرب، واش كتعرف بعض الامور حول السينما المغربيه مثلا؟ واش ممكن نحلموا بزاف انه واحد النهار نشوفوا مخرج مغربي صاعد شاب ومحترف كيوجه لك الدعوه باش تشارك في المشروع ديال الفيلم ديالو؟ واش هذا الحلم ممكن انه يتحقق في يوم من الايام؟
Of course, you know, I always like working with people from other traditions, from other cultures. It challenges how I think. It gives me a new way of thinking, and that's always the key to making things. So that's one of the reasons you come to a festival. It's an exchange of ideas, and in a festival like this, you know, I am able to see films and meet people that I might normally not meet in my normal travels. So that's totally possible. For example, I just watched a Moroccan film the other day that I liked, and you know, sure, it's possible someday maybe I will work with a Moroccan director.
وهذا الشيء اللي كنتمناوه. نبغي نقترح عليك 3 الاسماء وخليني نسمع تعليقك في جمله او جوج ديال الجمل. Wes Anderson. Precise, funny, world maker. في زاوية أخرى أبيل فيرارا.
My neighbor, crazy, passionate, a shooter.
والاسم الثالث ما يكونش الشخص بل المكان، مكان كيحتضننا كاملين الآن، المغرب.
Morocco. I still have a strong association with Last Temptation.
واخا. شكرا ويليام دافو. خليني في الختام نقدم لك الهدية، لا كاسكيت اف بي ام.
You know who I'm going to give this to? Abel. He'll wear it well. But the only problem is it's very close to FBI. This is a problem.
لا هذا برنامج كيهتم بالسينما. ويليام دافو، شكرا على تواجدك معنا في الاف ام، وكنتمناو نشوفوكم مستقبلا فيلم مغربي، علاش لا؟
Okay, when we do it, we'll be talking afterwards.
شكرا.
Sure.